Hi, I'm Troy from Studio 33 Guitar, and welcome back to our brand new beginner series. This is part number 3, and today we're talking about even more strumming patterns that you can use. And we're also going to introduce 16th notes into your strumming pattern, which will really smooth out your strum and make you sound more advanced. In the last lesson, we looked at how to add upstrokes, and we also showed you the most popular strumming pattern, which was this one. And we talked about how to count that, and we also talked about how to think of it just as down, down, up, up, down, up. So if you missed how to play that strumming pattern, I encourage you to go back and watch the last lesson so that you can learn that one, because that one is really popular and really useful. But I'm going to show you a few more that will also be really handy for you to know. The first one's going to be fairly simple. All we're going to do is add an upstroke on the and after 3 and after 4. That's going to sound like this. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 1, 2, 3, and 4, and. Now again, that's one that you should practice with just one chord, and then once you're familiar with that, then try adding in that second chord. So for the two chords together, it would sound like this. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 4, and 1, 2, 3, and 4, and. For this next one, we're going to be leaving out beat number 3, but we're going to be playing all the other eighth notes. So that's going to sound like this. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So remember, you want to keep that arm moving. Even though we're not playing on beat number 3, we're still moving on number 3. So we're still doing a downward motion, we're just not coming into contact with the strings on beat number 3. So adding in that second chord, that one would sound like this. You don't always have to change chords after 4 beats. Sometimes a chord will last for 2 bars or 3 bars or 4 bars. The important thing to know is that that sequence that we're playing equals 1 bar. So if you're staying on the chord for 2 bars, then you would play that same sequence 2 times before you would switch. Let me show you an example of what that looks like. For this next one, we're going to be introducing 16th notes. Now previously we've talked about quarter notes, 1, 2, 3, 4, and eighth notes, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. And now we're going to look at 16th notes. 16th notes are counted like this. 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 E and a. That might sound a little bit funny, but that's an easy way for us to hear how we're dividing each of those beats up into smaller segments. Now, as far as how that sounds with our strumming hand, it's going to be something like this. 1 E and a, 1 E and a. So it's still just a combination of playing downs and ups, but now we're just adding in more of them in that same space. To create this next really popular strumming pattern, we're going to add those 16th notes in after beat 3 and beat 4. So that would sound like this. 1, 2, 3 E and 4 E and. Now a little bit more up to speed would be like this. When we play with 16th notes in our strum pattern, we don't have to play all 4 of those 16th notes every time. So now we're going to look at another strumming pattern that uses 16th notes, but we skip a couple of them. So I was explaining how we count 1 E and A, and that would be all 4 of those 16th notes. A very common way to play 16th notes is to skip that E. So instead of 1 E and A, we would have 1 and A. So what we're going to do for this strumming pattern is play 1, 2 and A, 3, 4 and A. So that's going to sound like this. 1, 2 and A, 3, 4 and A, 1, 2 and A, 3, 4 and A. And a little bit quicker would be like this. Spend some time with those strumming patterns, become really familiar with how to play them. And then in the next lesson, we're going to look at some more chords that you can use those strumming patterns with. To make sure you don't miss it, hit the subscribe button and the little bell notification so you know when the next lesson comes out. We'll see you next time.